Alright, it's time to rank another soundtrack, and this week I'm going to be doing Darkwing Duck on the NES. As usual, I'm just doing the stage themes, so there's no boss battle theme, no intro, no ending, just the stage themes, so it's apples to apples, oranges to oranges. So there are 7 stage songs in the game in total, so 7 songs will be ranked on this list. And I'll preface this list by saying that it's just my opinion. It's not meant to be taken seriously. My opinion doesn't matter any more than yours, and I encourage discussion and debate. So feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments on which songs you liked, which songs you didn't, and where you agreed or disagreed with my opinion. So without any further ado, let's get dangerous. At number 7, Fowl's Floating Fortress. You know, it's not that often that the bottom spot on my ranking belongs to the final stage, because so often in video games, the final stage has a very dramatic tune or something that stands out in general. But this one, I mean, it's pretty generic. It does have a promising intro, but it's just generic riffs the rest of the way. I do like this little off-time climb, but other than that, it's just a by-the-numbers effort. Number 6, The Tower. This one has some energy to it, and I do like the first part of each measure of the refrain. But I feel like it keeps going back to that little transition part too much. Just that part happens a little too often in the loop. So, I don't know, I have this weird thing about this one where the part that I like kind of clashes with the part that I don't like, and they're right up against each other. I do like the pace and the energy of the song, but I do think it's, kind of like the previous song. It's generic, for the most part. Number 5, The Bridge. Much like The Tower, this one has some nice energy in it too, but I like it a little bit more because it has a really nice breakdown. And, it doesn't have any of the, I don't want to say annoying parts. I wouldn't say that the part that in The Tower that I disliked was annoying per se, but just something I didn't care for. Bridge doesn't have any of those moments that I point out as a negative, but kind of like the other songs that I've mentioned here so far, just kind of plain. Number 4, The Woods. Once again, energetic. It's one thing that I'll say about the soundtrack is that it does have a lot of energy to it. Basically, this is a better version of the Tower stage. A standout moment to me is the refrain. It actually almost gets too predictable at one point, but then at the very last measure, it pulls a Yui very subtly and goes against the grain, which I like when a song will do that. So it's cool that this song has that, that moment where it's lulling you into thinking that it's going to play this very particular riff, and then kind of throws a curveball in it. Well played. Number 3, The Sewer. This one's soothing all throughout. It's a change of pace from the rest of the soundtrack. The last section has a cool part right before the end of the loop. It has good production too. I mean, the whole soundtrack has good production, but this is a case where the instrumentation choice is very important. They could have had a harsher tone to it, but they went, thankfully, with this kind of warm, soothing lead tone. And the percussion is really good, too. It definitely fills up the song nicely, but it still breathes quite a bit. So, while I'd say that the song doesn't really grab me all that much by itself, I really like the way it's arranged. And I like how it's distinct from the rest of the soundtrack. Number 2, The Warehouse. Kind of like The Sewer, this one has a jazzy rhythm section, but the lead riff is quite melodic and hooky, which is a change of pace from the rest of the soundtrack. It doesn't have much in the way of hooks and catchy melodies. It's more about, pure musicianship. But here we have a melodic and hooky riff, at least in the verse, which is my favorite part of the song. Also, the bridge builds up nicely to the end. I think that, since doing these soundtrack rankings, I started to notice how much I appreciate the transition from the end of the loop back into the beginning, because only in the video game medium or anything where you would have something loop infinitely would you even need to formulate that when you're writing a song. So this is another example of good usage of that. And number 1, City. Very busy riffs from beginning to end here. The notes go all over the place. The refrain is probably my favorite part in the whole soundtrack. It might have benefited from having a verse that didn't sound quite as much the same as the chorus. I mean, they do sound distinguishable. It's not like you can't tell them apart or anything, but it is very consistent in its chaotic nature. And I don't know, maybe it would have been better with more variety, or, maybe it would have killed it. I don't know. It's one of those mysteries. So usually on things like that, I say it's, best to just let it be instead of, wondering all these what ifs. It's the number 1 song on my ranking anyway, so it's like I say don't break it if it's not fixed. I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. So that is it for this ranking. Here's a quick recap. Number 7 was Fowl's Floating Fortress. Number 6, The Tower. Number 5, The Bridge. Number 4, The Woods. Number 3, The Sewer. Number 2, The Warehouse. And number 1, The City. So that's it for this list. What is your opinion of it? What do you agree or disagree with? Feel free to leave your comments, and I'll see you next time.